Hey, today on the news, we're covering these headlines. Twitter will now let you edit your tweets. World's top password manager hacked. We'll cover the Digital and Tech Skills Compact coming up for the Jobs Summit last week. We've got special guests here to talk about all things news. Maybe. I was going to say meet the pitch winner, but there's changes happening. We're going to say Shaq was in Australia last week. We'll talk about that. And AFL Finals kicked off. Sophie Venz, thank you so much for joining us today. We're here. What's going on?
Not much, boys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, that was a good intro, wasn't it? Fucking 0 out of 10. What's going on,
You didn't
mate?
like it?
You butchered that. Maybe I need to take over. We're on the video. This is, I think, the 4th video we've done. So maybe you're a little nervous. You got off to a shaky start and you didn't really recover either.
I didn't have my headlines written out as headlines, so when I was trying to flick through the tabs and then summarise the headline as I went, and that's where I let myself down. Yeah,
but we're here with Sophie Venz, first time on a podcast. I can't believe it.
I know. Well, I can. I mean, I'm not sure why anyone would want to listen to me.
Oh, come on, people. We read your articles. We cover your articles a lot on Funny Business. So, how many articles do you reckon we've done of Soph's?
So many over the last. Seriously, on a Tuesday. Not just because.
So many.
Oh, I'm having a shocker today. But seriously, every Tuesdays and Wednesdays for the last 2 years, we've covered tech news or news, and SmartCompany's been a big source for our inspiration of things that we've covered, and your name's popped up on a lot of them. Do you feel, is it interesting covering that landscape and with so much stuff that's gone on? We said it during COVID, it was a weird time, like not much good news everywhere, but the tech sector had a lot of money funneling into it. It still had a lot of optimism around. Yeah,
no, it is really interesting. I think it was great during the pandemic to see how many tech companies were taking off. And now it's kind of at that point where it's getting a bit sad because so many companies were getting these massive cash injections, and now post-pandemic it's all like dwindling away. So it has been really interesting to cover, but it's been very like up and down.
And how does it go your everyday life around getting these stories when it's all, are you trying to maintain positive vibes when all this bad shit happens, like when you're trying to get a story and stuff like that? Is it hard sometimes to navigate tough stories?
Yeah, it is, especially because people love to read the negative stuff. Like people love to read about redundancies and layoffs and
psychology, isn't it?
Just gets the clicks. Is that what it is?
It is, yeah. They just they want to know why these businesses are going under, especially when they were doing so well. So we do, we try and strike that balance of good news with the rest of it. But it's hard, yeah. And
you got some good news yourself?
I do have some good news.
New job, who dis?
Yeah, very that.
Yes, yeah, very exciting. I'll be moving on from SmartCompany in a few weeks. So I'm very sad to be leaving SmartCompany, but it's a good opportunity.
Are you allowed to say where you're going?
Yes, I'm going to Forbes Advisor. It's a personal finance site that's come to Australia. So it's a big change from small business news, but it'll be good.
And construction too, because previous to SmartCompany, you were covering pipes and construction.
Yes, I was. Yes, I moved to Melbourne and I started working for a construction publication. There were actually 4 publications in the company I worked for, and 2 of them were construction and 2 of them were oil and gas pipelines. So if you have any questions about level crossings, I am happy to answer them.
Oh, I don't have any of those, but we can get into the tech headlines.
I don't know what that is. What's a level crossing?
To be honest, I don't really know either.
Listen.
There's something in like the trains, and they always get removed.
Yeah,
that's like what most of my articles were.
Another one gets removed.
Yeah, this level crossing is being removed today. It will be finished at this date.
Are there underground tunnels and shit?
Yeah, that was like a big part of my job as well. Trenchless construction.
What the fuck? Are there secret worlds and shit underground?
No, they're for the trains.
Yeah, but are there do people live in tunnels underground and stuff?
They don't live there, but yeah, they're there for a while.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I don't think they were the articles that Sophie was covering. She wasn't working for a conspiracy. Yeah. All right, let's get the first one. This comes from Jesse Baines, editor at LinkedIn News. Twitter will let you edit your tweets. Goodbye, typos, hello, edit button. Twitter has finally caved and will let users fix fat-fingered mistakes and autocorrect debacles. For the first half hour, you're able to make edits. What are your thoughts on this?
Fantastic. I think it's great because, I don't know anyone who hasn't put a typo on a tweet before. But they also introduced like Twitter circles and like status updates. So like MySpace used to have like the I'm feeling this or I'm doing this or whatever. Twitter introduced that and introduced Twitter circles, and I haven't gotten either of them.
I've never even heard of that.
I've never seen any status.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Have you been changing your status?
No, because they won't let me. Twitter hasn't given it to me. Like they've given it to other people, but not me.
Oh, so it's like blue tick people and stuff like that?
I have a blue tick, brag.
How was that?
I like that. Blue tick, who dis?
He's been wanting a blue tick for ages. He didn't when he former AFL player athlete, and he could have went through that, but you didn't have Instagram.
I didn't
at the
have any
time.
socials for like.
We could have
6
had a big
years.
profile because back then that's when Insta was fucking taken off.
And I didn't have Facebook or Instagram. If only, yeah.
Dumbass, isn't it? That audience. But Twitter's interesting. It's interesting that it's only for the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, because they're saying after that you can't go back and change your mind. They're
Yeah,
saying you
no,
can fix a mistake, but once it's out there, it's out there.
I think that's great because I'll post a tweet and then I'll realise like the sentence doesn't make sense or I've I don't know, there's a typo in it, and then I have to delete it and then like rewrite it. So I think it's great, and then it means that people can't go back and like if they've said something really unhinged and then like decide to change their mind. Yeah.
They'll just delete it.
What are your thoughts on Twitter as a platform, especially in the profession that you're in?
Oh, I love Twitter. I didn't used to be on it.
Do you live in the comments? Do you like read what other people? Do you like? I like
Just
going.
get
I see
news,
tweets, but I like if I see ones that have the heaps of stuff going on. I want to know what people are thinking.
Yeah.
I'll read the threads.
You're a troll, a little bit of a troll.
I never leave. No, I don't post. I just want to absorb what everyone's angry
He
or
likes
happy
discussion.
about.
He's looking for some friends, so he's looking in the comments section.
I'm not making any friends. I'm just consuming content, mate.
It's good, mate.
Yeah, I do use it as like a news feed, but also I do actually use it a lot just for cat support. It's a big Geelong Cats fandom on Twitter. Yeah.
So do you do any angry tweets? Like you're covering all this like important business stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like, fuck Jeremy Cameron, you know what I mean?
Yes, actually,
Really?
yeah. I mean, nothing like crazy because usually I'm too focused on the game. But I actually was speaking to someone about this the other night, and they were telling me they were like, I like definitely like my tweets aren't weird at all, but they were like, it's really interesting because you see a lot of people in the media whose their tweets are always just their articles and like just professional stuff. We love actually getting to see people like bring personality into it. And I'm like, the only personality I'm bringing into it is like the fact that I really love footy. But yeah, no. So
and vent some frustration.
Yeah.
So if something pisses you off, I'm going to let. Sometimes I feel like that. I'm like, I'm not going to post it on LinkedIn because people are just going to go, this guy's unhinged. And then I post, but Twitter, I feel like that's a good. Because then people can join in the discussion.
You're allowed to be a bit nuts.
You're allowed to be a little bit. There's the leeway a little bit. You're not crazy. It's just let it out.
yeah, for sure.
I don't know because I feel like if you go back to some of your previous Facebook
I used
posts,
to do like one a day. They were bad.
you
So
know,
you know when you get the memories and stuff.
Oh God.
Yeah.
you don't want to go back and alter history, but you don't want to keep some of those ones.
It's in the cloud, bro. Yeah.
Let's go. Next one. I don't know. This one comes from
Come on.
Thunis. Thunis Bates. Oh, terrible. Editor at LinkedIn News. World's top password manager hacked. LastPass, the world's most popular password manager, says hackers recently cracked its systems and stole source code and proprietary information, but says ordinary users shouldn't worry about the breach. The company, which has 33 million users and 100,000 business customers, sent an email to users saying an unauthorized party broke into its developer environment, the space where LastPass employees build and manage the product. What are your thoughts on this? On the whole, like digital security, are you like scared?
Centralized.
Are you scared of things like that?
I feel like I should be and I'm not. We use LastPass at work, but it annoys me. Like,
So everyone's got your passwords.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, everyone should already have them. I used to say,
Guthrie 30.
I use the same password for everything and have since I was about 16 years old. But we use LastPass at work, and it just like the idea that it takes me so long to retrieve a password of my own really frustrates me.
Yeah.
Two-factor authentication
Not for you.
drives me insane. I'm like, it's me. I'm trying to log into my laptop because then like I've had my credit card and like my bank accounts hacked. And I'm like, you try and authenticate me to get into my own thing, but it's still like being hacked by other people.
That's
I don't know.
nuts.
I just don't trust it.
I don't like two-factor authentication. I hate it when they go, wait for you to get the code, and then it's like you got some old email attached to it, and you're trying to get it up, and it's
And
the worst
gives
shit.
you like 60. It gives you like not even 60 seconds. It's like 15 seconds sometimes to enter the code. I'm like, I can't remember numbers.
And then sometimes the funniest part, I reckon, is when they like put the street signs in, and then there's like a little, and you're like, does that count? Like it's always in my head, like, do I put that, or are they going to think I'm a bot?
Yeah.
You know?
And I start thinking like, do I know what a motorbike looks like?
Yeah. Start questioning yourself.
Yeah.
Don't you? It's very like that.
Well, talking about getting hacked.
Yeah, we've been blocked from everything. I don't know if this is how conspiracies start and work, but it's just funny how the day before we have former CIA spy Andrew Bustamante on the podcast, the next day we get blocked from Instagram, which has happened for the first time ever. LinkedIn, they've banned us for a day for just engaging on their platform. And
Our Google account got suspended for
our
24
emails.
hours.
And then we're just going, what's going on here? So maybe there's something in that, but who knows?
The FBI are watching maybe.
But I've always thinking now, I just assume that everyone watches, even though it's not the self-importance thing around like.
You're not that.
No, but I mean
wrestling
like,
videos.
But you just got to assume. But you just got to assume that people are watching everything. That's how I think. You know.
Do you feel like we're living in? You cover tech. You see how where this is going. The amount of companies like absorb all this data and they try and
Data mining.
Yeah, they say they're using it for one thing. So I was like, was it Bunnings or was it the good guys that had the facial recognition software that they were tracking all the customers that came in without going public about? That was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah.
Why are you capturing stuff going on in my head? You know, it's bad enough. I don't want to give you that.
Yeah, it's very like 1984 Big Brother vibes that I get from it. But I don't know. I think a lot of it came out, especially during the good old pandemic, and you know, what was the app that didn't work where we had to like have the
the QR code check-ins.
Yeah. And I remember like my family back in Queensland, because obviously they had like nothing there, being like, oh, we're not going to sign up to that. We don't want the government to know where we are. And I'm like, you go to a restaurant and you'll put in our home address and our like phone number and everything. Like you give your data away to people all the time.
Yeah, but we covered this on the pod last year, and there was like 3 or 4 examples of the police using the information to make arrests for things based on the QR code check-in stuff, which was not meant to be how it was used. But now they got this
Bad
big,
for criminals. That's
but no, it's
shocking
like
thing
they've got
to
this
do.
big pool of data now, and now they're choosing to do it. But it's like that's not what I opted in for.
Yeah.
That's why all this stuff freaks me out. Not that I'd ever do anything with my own data. I don't even know what I'd do with it. But it's crazy to think how much of it's out there. that I don't have any access to.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
You feel
about.
pretty small. Is that what you're trying to say?
I just feel like I feel like an ant. Like very insignificant, that all these people have more power and control over the stuff that's really important on how the people leveraging it to sell stuff to us, use it to make us care about other things, like all those docos and stuff that came out. But we can't go back and like, hey, I want to erase or wipe or put it behind a LastPass that all gets stolen. Can't do that.
No, you can't. Do you reckon they have like the big cybersecurity guards online too? Like all the cybersecurity people are big and tough, like the ones that arm all the money in the safes and ATMs. You reckon?
Like it's a big cartoon.
Yeah. Like they're big buff people
Man.
behind the computers, just making sure everything's.
I don't think that's real.
You don't reckon that's real? That's just my dream that I'm having.
So did you cover
Weird
much
dream.
going on with the job summit last week?
I personally didn't. I was travelling for work, but we did have a lot of our journos covering it all.
Well,
lots came out of it.
I won't quiz you too hard then. So this is the Digital and Tech Skills Compact joint media release with Minister for Skills and Training, the Honourable Brendan O'Connor MP. The federal government has announced support for the Digital and Tech Skills Compact between government, unions and technology employers agreed at the Jobs and Skills Summit. The compact affirms commitment from the industry, government and unions to cooperate to help address skills shortages and grow the Australian tech sector. The agreement is an important step towards achieving the government's target of 1.2 million related tech jobs by 2030. This is something we talk about a lot, where I'd love to get your opinion of, for a while, yes, there's the redundancies and stuff being made, but prior to that, it was the whole, there's not enough good people. We can't find enough people. Do we need to go overseas? Do we need to do remote working where they hire from everywhere? What have you noticed as a trend of Australian companies trying to find the right type of talent?
I think definitely the going overseas, and I think that is something they really covered in the Job Summit, was boosting our migrant intake. I think that's just something post-pandemic. I know obviously we had to put a pause on it considering the whole world was shut down. But now, they're really looking at sort of boosting that migrant intake and like skills, boosting migrant skills, because we just don't have the population here to cover what we need to cover. So we've got to sort of go elsewhere.
Well, we were the first to adopt robots and stuff then, because we don't have the people. So it's like, just bring all the sentient bots and bring them here, huh? Get him at Macca's. You got Roger. You know what I mean? Was that a McChicken?
You're bringing a real conspiracy flavour to today's news.
Got to make that interesting, you know what I mean? You talk fucking boring tech stuff, you know? Got to make it interesting.
The Job Summit of like the thing that's going to help pay our bills and all that sort of stuff is boring, is it?
Was it Christian Porter? He was our fucking tech minister for a bit,
Last
wasn't he?
year, until the thing,
That's fucking crazy. They hide him in powerful positions like that. That's crazy, isn't it? That's another conspiracy for another day, isn't it? But
It is. But
so who's in charge now?
Huh?
Who's in charge now of all this stuff?
The Ed Husick, Minister for Industry and Science. you go.
Yeah, a bit different.
Yeah, big Ed. Hey, last week we got one of your articles here from SmartCompany. You had the first pitch night. What was that?
Yes, so it's something that quite a lot of places do. Just called a pitch night, where early stage startups will all come together and pitch their ideas to a panel of different judges. So we put on ours for the first time, and we had on our panel someone from Flying Fox Ventures, Kylie Fraser. We
had Kylie on the pod.
Yeah,
a month ago.
Really? Nice.
She's such a legend.
Yeah, we had Adrian from Mr. Yum, and they were a couple others on the judging panel, and there was out of maybe 190 applicants, I think we had. Got a short list down to 10, and then the 10 of them came along and pitched their ideas to the crowd and to the judging panel, and then Zipper fashion startup took the prize.
I saw that. What are they doing? Secondhand?
Yeah,
how does
so
it work?
it's sort of like TikTok. They're wanting to create like a personalized feed for people to buy clothing. So instead of having to like search through e-commerce websites or like marketplace, you sort of like film a video of yourself with your style, what you want, your fit, things like that, and then it'll become your feed will become personalized to you. So you'll be seeing like clothing brands that you would like, or like secondhand sellers that are selling clothes you would like. So like a personalized sort of TikTok feed, but specifically for social commerce. Yeah.
Oh, so it's like, is that what Depop kind of is? Like it services a little bit. I don't know what Depop is though. Is that like secondhand clothes, like a marketplace thing?
I think Depop is just like a marketplace. Yeah. So this is sort of trying to like put the video aspect into it. And
it's like an algorithm for brands.
Yeah. And for like secondhand sellers as well.
That's cool. So you don't see any of the shit that you don't really want to.
Yeah.
You'll never like anyway. Like you're going through the pages. You know, when you flick through all the pages, you're trying to find something you like on those websites.
You like the plain big WTs. That's what you're about, don't you? Imagine that big W on your feed, Kmart. That's good though, isn't it? That's my type of shit. You know what I mean? Vinnies, you know?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Hey, last week, Shaq was in Australia. We know you're not a massive, you said off air that you're not a massive basketball fan, but everyone knows who Shaq is. He was in Greenvale to kick it off.
He apparently went to the tobacco store in Greenvale.
Really?
Just lit it up and then paid for the rest of the day's takings to anyone who came in. Shaquille O'Neal has paid for it.
Shit.
What's he buying from the tobacco?
Oh, who knows?
Papers?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. But apparently he's got a whole entourage that go with him and just pump him up. They're like his hype people. They just say, you're doing a good job, man. They smoke cigars with him. They go to the strippers and stuff.
Well, surely if he had like however many appearances you said that he had in like 4 days, surely he needs a hype team.
He was everywhere.
You'd be exhausted.
Yeah, it'd be pretty tough. Adrenal fatigue. You'd think you'd have that, wouldn't you? I just learnt that word, so I just want to pop it in the pod. But
adrenal fatigue.
It's when you do too many appearances. You know, someone in the comments said he'd done 200 and something appearances in 4 days, but I don't think that's correct.
An exaggeration.
But it sounds good though, doesn't it? We could clip that and make that a little bit.
I just like how he was absolutely everywhere. But in terms of like relevance of someone coming here to try and get in the media, he was absolutely everywhere across all the media. But he was turning up in the right spots.
The inspired unemployed, they were using.
What was he doing here? Like what?
Play a few DJ sets.
Like what? Was he just here like for the hell of it?
I think to do a couple of talks and just a couple of appearances.
He's a businessman.
Yeah.
I reckon he sees
it's like Snoop Dogg.
NBA and the basketball's really growing here in Australia with some of the NBL teams being purchased by former NBA players, and there's just feeder league. So basketball's growing, and he's thought, fuck it. I'm going to come and I'm going to get my profile up here. That's right. That's my thought. Anyway,
it's good. But I think a lot of businesses would love having someone like Shaq in to just motivate the team and, you know what I mean, just have something like...
Pay that big appearance fee for Shaq to come in.
Well, fuck it. You know what I mean? That's good. I don't mind the Shaq.
When are we going to get Shaq in?
Do you guys want to...
I was kind of spewing that everyone else sort of had him on their show besides us. We didn't get
to
the chance to...
What do you reckon it would cost to get Shaq on the show?
Probably a bit of cash, yeah. I don't know, man.
We never paid for a guest, but imagine if we had a budget, would you pay it?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
No?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. Would you?
No. Probably not. I would like to meet him though. We got to meet Jamal. There's another NBA player last week.
Soph doesn't give a fuck, mate. She doesn't like basketball, mate.
I just don't know it, you know?
So we got to get let's talk about stuff she doesn't care about.
Fair enough.
Fucking idiot. Something that she does care about.
AFL
football.
AFL finals last week.
Yeah.
Cats fans. We're Cats fans.
Yes.
We like that. You know, Brisbane, they got
the job
Brisbane
done.
they had a good one.
Yeah. We were all right.
Did you watch more than one? Did you just watch the Cats? Do you watch all the teams?
Not all of them. It sort of depends. Through the season, I watch every Gold Coast and Cats game because I have to, play homage to my roots. And then maybe I watched a bit of Sydney on this weekend, and missed the Brisbane game because I was at the event, but was getting some updates sent to me.
Oh, so you like getting the updates, and you're footy
right
nuff.
into it.
Yeah,
footy nuffing.
I had people I was like, can you text me what's going on at the game? I was like, I'm at work, I can't watch it.
That's
Just
crazy.
so I was just checking my phone and getting the updates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You multis on, or you don't?
I have a rule that I only bet on games that I'm watching, so it's usually only Geelong games.
Who usually slips in there into the? Have you got someone that you back?
Multi-anchor.
You trust?
Dangerfield.
Dangerfield.
Yeah, he's your favourite player. You did mention off there.
Yeah. Jezza and Dangerfield. So yeah.
How good was Jezza on the weekend? How good was his goal in front of the Collingwood? All them yelling at him. It would have felt so good to kick that too.
He's the best player in the comp.
It was insane.
What about Cheer Squad? Would you ever delve into there, or have you before?
Face paint, paint the Lach paints his face Brisbane colours when he watches Brisbane.
Nice.
No, it's whiskers.
Nice. No, I haven't ever been in the cheer squad. No, but I do love going to the game when I can get there.
All right, let's go through our tips then for this week. Yeah. To face Geelong, the winner of this game, so Brisbane Melbourne will face the Cats. Who do you think is going to win?
Or I'm hoping it's Brizzy. I'm hoping Brizzy.
Yeah, you think you'll beat us easier than Melbourne?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's why.
Smart.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good play. I think Melbourne are going to get up though.
I think we've got a free hit. You know what I mean? Because the pressure's on them. They won the grand final last year. They got beat. If they get beat again, they'll have that anxiety around that, I think. And I feel like whatever we sort of played our grand final last week. I think they're pretty happy with that. We won a final and it's a free hit.
Where is the game?
MCG.
I could be going.
Really?
Yeah, could be getting.
It'd be good for you, wouldn't it?
Oh, I love it. I love going to the footy, experiencing that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Melbourne. You're going to go back. Surely you have to back your own team.
I'm going for Brisbane. Yeah,
and you're going for Brisbane as well.
Yeah.
All right, and the other game to face Sydney next week will be Collingwood Freo at the MCG.
I'm going to say Collingwood.
Yeah, Collingwood get it done.
Yeah, me too. They looked pretty good last week against the Cats.
That was a good final,
How good was footy last weekend? I watched heaps of it, and that game, particularly the Geelong-Collingwood game, was one of the best games I've seen in so long.
It's good to see you falling back in love with football again.
So
it's making me happy because he didn't watch it for ages and he called me a nuffy and shit all the time. But
I like finals. I like the end of the season. Mid-season, you can't really get me.
But you were never known for the big stage, so it's a rare. Why do you like the
big stage? I am the big stage.
Who's your favourite Geelong player? Before we go, who's your favourite?
Brad Close. Sorry.
Why is it Brad Close?
Mainly just similarities of game style. I think. If there's one player, I think he's a gun and he's little and I'm little and it's all
whatever.
good.
Whatever.
What about you? You said Dangerfield and Jezza.
Yeah.
Anyone else you have a soft spot for?
All of them, but those would be the top two for sure.
I like that. Nice and safe. You don't have to. You know what I mean? There's not that many good players for Geelong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. Hey, before we let you go, where do we find you? SmartCompany Plus, Forbes.
SmartCompany Plus, Forbes Advisor. You can read all of my
just Google me.
Geelong tweets.
Yeah.
How do they find the blue tick on Twitter? How do they go find? Where's the blue tick?
Where's the blue tick? It's just Sophie Venz.
There you go.
Yeah,
it is. Go
really
check it out.
pays to have a unique last name.
It's fucking pretty tough.
It
isn't
is.
Sounds like a superhero.
Bradford's not that.
Bradford just sounds like royal. Sounds like money. You know what I mean? It does. It sounds like royal family.
I don't think
Hicks,
it does.
you know.
Hicks is very Bogan.
Yeah, very Bogan. Robert Lewis Hicks. There you go.
Anyway,
Don't say my full name on the podcast.
Oh, the other day, his full name, date of birth, talking about privacy. He's like,
can you delete that? I go, what? People are going to go back and go, you don't say my middle name on the podcast, bro. You told me a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, anyway.
You can't get out of it now. That was weird. I was like, no one cares, bro.
No, anyway, whatever.
I don't know.
I was like, don't share everything. It's like, we do a pod enough. I don't want to say like, hey, here's my address too, you know?
It wasn't. It was just your middle name.
I actually have a really unhinged conspiracy theory, if you would like to hear it. It's about Steve Irwin.
Oh, yeah.
I am convinced that Terry Irwin killed Steve Irwin. Well, had him murdered.
What?
And I'm so convinced.
You're happy to talk about that?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah,
What happened?
I mean, I'm a bit worried she'll try and sue me or something. But no, I've thought about this a lot.
Yeah.
And so they lost the footage of him being stabbed by the stingray, which is like, that's pretty shady as it is, because his whole career was to like be filmed. Like, how did you just suddenly like lose the footage? And so I've got this theory that she was having an affair with the guy he went out on the boat with, because that was like his manager and best mate. And then she like had him killed, because would the kids be as famous as they are now if Steve was still around? Because I don't think they would be. I don't think Bindi and Rob would be as famous as they are now. And Terry and the granddad, Bob, don't talk anymore at all. And he was like super close in the family. So I reckon he knows something. There were drugs found in Steve Irwin's system. I'm really convinced.
What? Was there really?
Yeah.
You followed. So when this happened back in the day, were you all over it, or is it something that you...
Oh, no, I was in like year 6.
I was going to say...
You got the pinboard at home with the string attaching this. It feels like it's a deep story.
What happened? What triggered that?
I don't know. I actually don't know when this happened, but it was like something I think we must have been talking like conspiracy theories at uni, and it was just something that my friend and I started talking about, and then they obviously just like moved on, and I was like, I can't move on from this, and just thought about it so much, and just, I've like completely like become convinced that that's what happened. And I was watching,
That's crazy.
do you know DB Cooper? Do you know DB Cooper? The like...
Yeah, I watched the series.
The Netflix documentary on him. I love DB Cooper, love that so much.
Yeah.
And when it was all the retired like FBI people and like investigative journalists, I was like, this is going to be me. Like when I am 60, I'm going to retire, and it's just going to be me trying to like finally,
That's a big story.
avenge Steve
What was the
Irwin.
pod that went bananas, and then the person who just got arrested last week happened? The guy killed his wife. It was like,
yeah.
And it was the podcast that would come out that helped shed light on what it is. Maybe this could be a story. There's something in that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I don't get arrested. Sorry, Terry.
That is crazy though. So how do you research all this? Are you just down the rabbit, rant down the rabbit hole?
Yeah. I mean, that's like, those are all just like...
Is this out there? Is this a theory that's out there that other people
Have you seen
think?
anyone else with this theory?
No. Oh, actually, I think like if you do, I think you can Google it, and there's like theories that he was like murdered. Like there was theories that like there was foul play. Yeah. But I don't think anyone has publicly come out and said that she did it.
It is weird though, like there was no footage.
It's so
I didn't
weird.
know there was no footage. I thought that they had the footage and they just weren't going to show anyone.
No, it was lost. And then Bob, the grandfather, is like not involved with Terry at all. Like they don't like speak anymore.
This is the best shit. I love this. This is just unfound.
But people say to me that they're convinced that the kids would still be famous if Steve was still around. But I don't reckon. Like I don't reckon they would have as big of a platform as they do if he was still around, because he'd still have the limelight.
Yeah.
Like, everyone would still love him.
I reckon that you just pass it on. You seen the Wiggles now? The new Wiggle.
Yeah, but does anyone care about them?
That's
a
good point.
They're still passing the platform. They still got the platform.
Yeah, but like if it was like you could get Bindi Irwin on your podcast, or you could get Steve Irwin, you'd choose fucking Steve Irwin.
It's a fair call. Probably got a few better stories, but now it's a different story. I can see where you're forming that from. Yeah, it's gonna send me down the rabbit hole too. I reckon you should start a YouTube series.
Yeah, I think I did tweet about it once, and someone was like, but like not that I thought that it was my theory. I was like just like saying like, oh, I can't stop thinking about the conspiracy theory that blah blah blah, and like there was like these replies in the comments about like, oh, what terrible people come up with this stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to claim that was me. But now I guess people know. Yeah.
Well, people can go digging now and just find out the truth. You put the heat on Terry. Terry's...
Just Google it. Try and debunk this theory. It's true unless found false.
There are good YouTube videos like that around the conspiracy. People mash it up. And
you watched a few of those. Was it Pizzagate? Remember you had the...
I was... Well, that... Yeah.
I reckon maybe like... This is like
I just didn't
5
understand.
years before all the stuff came out with Epstein.
Yeah.
And I came to your joint, and I walked into... He was living in Flemington at the time, and he had the computer up, and I walked in. The first he's like, "You gotta watch this. Watch it now. It's true." Everyone said. I was like, "What is going on?" He's like, "They're in the pizza shop."
And then I was like, people can just Photoshop stuff. You know what I mean?
But there was weird things that like people buying like $10,000 pizzas, and like it was weird shit.
Stuff. It's definitely
and then
happened.
it's all come out that Epstein's touched up kids and trafficked kids. It's like, well, that's all. There's an element of truth somewhere in the story, so maybe there's an element of truth in the Steve Irwin.
There's so many good stories though, you know what I mean? Stories, they make things interesting. So there's always... Facts are just sometimes a bit boring, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you've got to add some keywords.
Yeah.
Is that a phrase? Some keywords.
Got that SEO.
Yeah, SEO writing. You know what I mean? You've got to do some of that.
Well, thanks again anyway. I loved the unhinged conspiracy to finish us off. Thanks so much for coming down to the studio. It's been great having you on.
Thanks.